Dear friends, when a man stands at the absolute pinnacle of power, holding the fate of a multi-billion-dollar corporation in his hands, people usually think his birthday will be drowning in lavish parties, expensive wine, and hollow praises. But for the notorious CEO, named Toan the alpha wolf of the business world, those shiny things are terrifyingly cold and meaningless. Today is his birthday, a day where right from the early morning, the CEO's phone has been blowing up with greetings from business partners. And yet, the only person he's waiting to hear from his devoted wife, Diem, is completely MIA. That deafening silence leaves the chairman in a state of absolute panic. Did Diem forget his birthday, or has the hustle of high society accidentally pushed them apart? But guys never underestimate the depth of a woman who has weathered the storm with her husband. Diem's silence isn't carelessness. It's the setup for a massive surprise, a net of love cast right in the middle of the bustling city. No loud parties, no vanity. What Diem has prepared will make even the most iron-willed CEO shed hot tears. Lean back, make yourself a hot cup of tea, because today's episode is going to take your emotions to a beautiful climax. The poor wife's terrifying silence, and the CEO's shocking birthday party. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a like to follow the whole story. Let's get started. The clock strikes 8 a.m. On the 68th floor of the financial tower, standing tall in the city center, the work atmosphere is tense as a tightrope. CEO Toan sits behind his solid mahogany desk, his razor-sharp gaze skimming through the quarterly financial report. Today is March 12th, his birthday. There's a constant knock on his office door. From the HR director to the sales director, they walk in carrying giant baskets of Phalaenopsis orchids and limited edition imported liquor, bowing deeply. Happy birthday, Mr. Chairman. Wishing you another year of leading the corporation to even greater heights. Toan just gives a slight nod, the smile on his lips, keeping the exact standard of a leader polite but distant. Kay, his right-hand man, carefully stacks the expensive gifts in a corner of the room where they drown among dozens of other luxury items. To Toan, these greetings feel like an administrative formality. They're wishing him well because of the chair he's sitting in, because of the fortune he controls. Toan swivels his leather chair to face the massive tempered glass window, looking down at the tiny stream of traffic moving like ants on the street below. His hand unconsciously picks up his phone and unlocks the screen. No new messages. Scrolling through his chat with Diem, the last text is from last night. Remember to take your stomach medicine before bed, honey. This morning, before he left for work, Diem still woke up early to make breakfast and personally tied his tie. But she absolutely didn't breathe a single word about his birthday. Did Diem actually forget? Toan frowns. A sudden wave of disappointment and bitterness rises up, squeezing his chest. He might be able to call the shots in the business world and force the toughest competitors to back down. But in front of that petite woman, he still carries the fragile heart of a man deeply in love. Ring, ring. The phone rings, cutting through his thoughts. Toan blinks, tucking away his vulnerability as his eyes turn cold and sharp again. He picks up. Prep the meeting room. I'll personally lead the negotiation for the South Zone project in 10 minutes. The CEO buries himself in his work, trying to use numbers and stress to fill the suffocating void in his heart. The agonizingly long and calculated negotiation finally wraps up as the clock strikes 9 p.m. Toan tiredly loosens his silk tie. Kay steps up respectfully, asking, Mr. Chairman, the partners have reserved a VIP banquet room at the rooftop restaurant to celebrate your birthday. The car is waiting in the lobby. Cancel it! Toan cuts him off, his voice exhausted. Tell them thank you, but I'm not feeling well today. You go home and rest too. I'll drive myself. Kay hesitates for a second, then steps back. The hardened gangster of the past, now a senior assistant, understands his boss's temperament perfectly. His boss, despite wearing $1 million suit, has a soul that only aches for a home with warm yellow lights and the silhouette of his wife, Diem. The SUV silently cuts through the city night. Arriving at the luxury apartment complex, Toan steps into the private elevator for the penthouse. Watching the numbers tick up from the ground floor to the highest level, his heart beats faster with every passing second. Diem is probably waiting for me for dinner right now. Maybe she's cooked a delicious meal, smiling and saying happy birthday. Toan tells himself, the corners of his mouth involuntarily curving up. Ding. The elevator doors open, but what greets Toan's eyes isn't the warm, brilliant glow of crystal chandeliers from the living room. The entire penthouse is submerged in pitch-black darkness. A chilling silence blankets the room. Toan freezes. What is going on? Diem has never turned all the lights off. Before he got home. Diem, are you home? Toan calls out loudly, his voice echoing in the vast space, laced with a hint of panic. He reaches out to flip the light switch on the wall. No response. A power outage in this ultra VIP apartment complex that was practically impossible. Toan's heart skipped a beat. The intuition of a man who had tasted life and death told him something was very wrong. He hurriedly tossed his leather briefcase onto the sofa, frantically pulling out his phone to turn on the flashlight. But right at that moment, from the hallway, leading out to the penthouse's massive rooftop garden, a tiny point of light suddenly flared up. Then a second, then a third. The flickering, dimly glowing flames were incredibly warm, tracing a narrow, illuminated path. Toan frowned. The air didn't smell like expensive perfume or French essential oil candles. It carried an incredibly familiar, earthy, slightly sweet scent. The smell of beeswax candle smoke and the faint, gentle fragrance of pomelo blossoms drifting by. He slowly followed the trail of flames, his heart pounding frantically in his chest. And as he stepped through the tempered glass doors, leading out to the sky garden, the multi-billion dong CEO suddenly froze dead in his tracks. His feet felt nailed to the floor. His eyes widened, reflecting a scene so shocking it completely overturned every concept of luxury. Before Toan's eyes was not the usual elegantly tiled luxury rooftop garden. Right in the middle of the windy open space on the 68th floor, Diem had used woven bamboo mats and potted plants to enclose the area into a profoundly rustic country setting. In the center, instead of a banquet table draped in pristine white silk, sat a rough, unpolished longanwood table, the exact same table Toan had built with his own bleeding hands as a gift for Diem years ago on Sim Hill. He had no idea when or how Diem had secretly hired someone to transport it all the way to the city. On the table there was no sparkling wine, no caviar, and no Kobe beef. Instead, there was a clay pot of braised streamfish emitting a mouth-watering aroma, a bowl of field crab and Malabar spinach soup, a plate of pristine white pickled eggplants, and a birthday cake. But it wasn't a multi-tiered cream cake bought from a famous bakery. It was a cake made from black glutinous rice mixed with sesame shaped into a round mound, topped with a single flickering candle. Next to it sat a small ceramic vase holding a few wild branches picked from the roadside. Diem stood there next to the wooden table. She wasn't wearing a sparkling rhinestone-studded evening gown or elaborate makeup. She was wearing exactly that same faded dark brown traditional shirt, her long hair casually tied back with a simple cloth scrunchie. Under the flickering light of the beeswax candles, Diem looked breathtakingly beautiful. The beauty of devotion of someone who understood the man she loved to his absolute core. She smiled a gentle, pure smile like the light of a full moon, and her soft voice broke the silence. "Welcome home. Happy birthday, my hubby. Drop." The phone in Toan's hand slipped and fell onto the artificial grass. His nose stung, and a wave of heat surged from his chest straight to his eyes. The cold CEO, the man who had just made dozens of corporate directors tremble in the morning meeting room, was now standing with trembling lips, his chest heaving with overwhelming emotion. He stumbled forward toward the banquet table, reaching out to touch the rough surface of the longan wood table, taking a deep breath of the clay pot. Braised fish, Toan choked up. "Diem, you did all this, I thought. You actually forgot my birthday." Diem stepped forward, taking her husband's trembling hands. Her small, warm hands pressed against his large ones, which were freezing cold from exhaustion. "You idiot! How could I possibly forget the day the most important man in my life was born? This morning I saw you getting so many gifts, your phone ringing constantly. I know the business world and your partners will congratulate you with the most lavish, expensive things. I didn't want to compete with them over that vanity." Diem looked up, her clear, tear-filled eyes, looking straight into Toan's. "You are the chairman of the corporation out there, but when you step through this door, you are just my husband. I wanted to return you to the place where your soul feels the most at peace. No need to act, no need to be strong, no need to be on guard against anyone. This party didn't cost billions, but it has the braised fish you love the most, the table you built for me with your own hands, and it has me. Are you ashamed of your poor wife for throwing such a rustic birthday party for the chairman?" Diem's heartbreakingly self-deprecating joke was like a knife slicing through the final thread, holding Toan's composure together. Unable to hold back any longer, Toan pulled Diem tightly into his arms, hugging her so hard it felt like he wanted to embed her into his own flesh. He buried his face in his wife's frail shoulder, and the multi-billion-dong chairman burst into tears. The choked sobs tore from the deepest depths of a man who had carried far too much pressure on his shoulders. "Don't be silly. This is the most lavish, priceless birthday party I have ever received in my entire life." Toan sobbed, his hot tears soaking a patch of Diem's traditional shirt. Sitting in the meeting room today, receiving all those greetings and flower baskets, I only felt lonely and freezing cold. I was scared. I was so scared that this city, this busyness would steal you away, steal our peace. Thank you. Thank you for bringing our true home all the way up here for me. Diem wrapped her arms around her husband's broad, trembling back, gently patting him to soothe him like a child. Right in the heart of the glamorous city, at the very top of the tallest building, there was a man who stood above tens of thousands of people, yet was willing to kneel and surrender to the simple love of a woman. The couple sat down on the wooden chairs. Under the starry night sky, beside the flickering candlelight, Toan devoured the bowl of white rice with braised stream fish. The savory, spicy kick of the chili, blended with the sweetness of the fish, made it taste better than any abalone or shark fin banquet he had ever eaten. As Toan prepared to blow out the candle on his sticky rice cake, Diem quietly took a small object from her pocket and placed it in his hand. It wasn't a Swiss watch or a diamond-studded fountain pen. It was a peace amulet braided from red threads, its centerpiece carved from a tiny piece of agar wood. I braided it myself and went to the temple to ask the monks to chant over it for 7 straight days. The business world is a battlefield. I don't have the ability to help you defeat your rivals. I can only pray to the heavens and Buddha to protect you, keep you safe, and keep your mind clear so you can always come back to me. Toan gripped the amulet tightly in his hand, bringing it to his lips for a kiss. This gift had no price tag because it was paid for with the peace of mind love and the most sacred prayers of a wife. He put it around his neck, closed his eyes, respectfully pressed his palms together, and blew out the candle. "What did you wish for?" Diem asked softly. Toan opened his eyes, his gaze resolute, fiery, and overflowing with devotion. "I didn't wish for the corporation to make another trillion dong. I only wish that in this life, the next life, and many lifetimes after, whenever I am tired and turn around, you will always be there in this traditional shirt waiting for me beside a hot meal." That night, there was no elegant jazz music, only the whistling of the wind rushing past the high floors of the skyscraper. But in that small corner of the rooftop garden, happiness was redefined in the most perfect and beautiful way possible. The morning after the heartwarming birthday night, just as the first rays of sunlight hit the penthouse balcony, a piercing phone ring tore through the silence. Toan carefully untangled Diem's arm from around his waist and tiptoed out to the living room to pick up. On the other end was the panicked, cracking voice of Kay, the iron-willed assistant who had never known fear. "Mr. Chairman, we have a massive crisis. The Van Fat branch in the south was completely gutted of all capital early this morning. The entire board of directors over there colluded with our rivals and is preparing to declare bankruptcy to crash the parent company's supply chain. They've already laid legal traps, and the economic police are gearing up to intervene." Toan's face hardened. Van Fat was the heart of the supply chain. If it collapsed, the parent company would take a fatal blow. Those little rats had taken advantage of the moment he was soaking in peace to gnaw away at the foundation of his empire. The CEO's eyes flared with blood-red streaks of rage. He gripped the phone tightly, grinding out every freezing word. "Lock down all information. Call an emergency meeting. I will personally head south today. Tell those rats that the CEO seat of Van Fat, I will sit in it myself." "Mr. Chairman, you can't," Kay screamed in sheer panic. "Van Fat is a black hole right now, swarming with gangsters masquerading as businessmen. They've already set a trap and are waiting for you. For you to give up the chairman's seat of the parent company to take over a brain-dead subsidiary is no different from tying yourself up and throwing yourself to the wolves. If you don't enter the tiger's den, how can you catch the tiger cub? Book my flight cost." Kick. Toan hung up. The ruthlessness and decisiveness of a ruler had fully awakened. He turned around, intending to walk into the bedroom to pack his luggage, but suddenly stopped dead. 2DM was standing at the bedroom door. Who knows how long she had been there? She wore a thin nightgown, her clear, yet strangely deep eyes staring intently at him. She had heard everything. Toan stepped forward, forcing a relieved smile, and reached out to stroke his wife's messy hair. "Wifey, why are you up so early? The company has a little hiccup at the southern branch. The executive board over there is being too negligent, so I have to personally fly down and take over the director position for a while to straighten things out. It's just a slightly tiring new assignment. Once it's solved, I'll be right back." Toan deliberately downplayed the severity of the situation. He didn't want to ruin Diem's smile after their beautiful birthday night. But Diem didn't smile. She quietly walked past him and stepped up to the massive oak wardrobe. With her own hands, she pulled out his sharpest jet black dress shirt, smoothing out every crease before laying it on the bed. Diem's silence made Toan feel suffocated. He would rather see her crying and begging him to stay home than face this razor-sharp silence. "Diem, are you mad at me? I just promised to spend time with you and now—" Toan stepped forward, wrapping his arms around his wife's shoulders from behind. Diem turned around, her resolute eyes looking straight up at the CEO. Her voice didn't tremble at all. It was strangely firm and unyielding. "Do you think I'm some naive young girl who's easy to fool, Toan? I've been with you from the days we shared a bowl of instant ramen right up to today. That look in your eyes just now wasn't about fixing a little hiccup. That look is the look of a man preparing to walk into a death trap to fight." Toan was stunned. His lips parted, but no words came out. The rustic country woman of the past now had enough sharp intuition to completely read an alpha wolf. "I'm not stopping you." Diem continued, her voice clear and echoing in the quiet room. "When a man builds an empire, sometimes he has to get blood on his hands. If Van Fat is a cancer, you go ahead and cut it out. But you listen to me carefully. I am allowing you to walk into the tiger's den, but I absolutely forbid you from becoming their prey." With that, Diem opened the secret bottom drawer of the wardrobe. She carefully pulled out a long, pitch-black velvet box. Toan frowned in confusion. He thought the peace amulet yesterday was his only birthday gift. Click. The box opened. Inside was a premium silk tie in a deep crimson color. Not a bright, flashy flag red, but a cold, dark Bordeaux, the color of dried blood, the color of absolute power and ruthlessness. Diem picked up the tie and stepped right in front of Toan. She stood on her tiptoes, personally looping that strip of red silk around the collar of his black shirt. The hands that were once used to picking vegetables and planting rice now swiftly tied a perfect Windsor knot, tight and authoritative. As she adjusted the knot perfectly snug against her husband's throat, Diem whispered every word as solid as a nail driven into wood. "You know, when you accept this new assignment, they're secretly celebrating, waiting for you to show up so they can tear you apart. They think that because you stepped off your throne, you're just a weakling now." Diem gently smoothed her hand down the length of the dark red tie on Toan's chest, her eyes flashing with a razor-sharp glint that rivaled any high society matriarch. "This tie, I bought it with my very first paycheck when we first moved to the city, planning to give it to you the day you succeeded. But today I'm giving it to you. This red isn't for decoration. I want you to wear it into the Van Fat boardroom to remind those traitors. If they want to play a bloody game, you will show them the color of absolute destruction." Toan held his breath. The blood in his veins was boiling. He looked down at the tie. Suddenly, he noticed that on the inside, hidden in the fold of the silk, was a tiny line of text, exquisitely hand-embroidered in gold thread. "You must return. By tying this tie, I am tying my life to yours." Diem looked up, the corners of her eyes glistening, but she absolutely refused to let a single tear fall. "You can be ruthless to the entire world. You can crush every opponent. But you have to promise me, even if the sky falls down, you will wear this tie and safely open this door to come back home." The emotion burst open, yet remained silent. Toan didn't cry, because tears right now were a sign of weakness. He gripped Diem's waist tightly, leaning down to plant a deep, fierce and fiercely possessive kiss on her lips. "I promise, wait for me. I will bring back the heads of those rats as a gift for you." He let her go, turned on his heel, and walked away. His broad, solid back draped in a black suit jacket, highlighted by the dark red tie, like a fatal slash. The king had officially taken off his crown of safety to put on his blood-soaked armor. The life and death battle had begun. That noon at the Van Fat branch headquarters in the south. Inside the massive boardroom, 12 executive directors, the very men who had just signed the agreement to sell out the company, were puffing on cigars and raising glasses of champagne in celebration. As long as the bankruptcy report is filed this afternoon, the parent company will lose trillions in a flash. Even if that guy Toan grew 3 heads and 6 arms, he couldn't save this. The vice director smirked savagely. I heard he resigned as chairman to personally come down here and take over as interim CEO, throwing himself right into the trap. We're going to teach him a lesson. Bang! The massive double oak doors of the boardroom were violently kicked open instantly, cutting off the disgusting laughter of the crowd. The door hinges shrieked a deafening noise. The entire room fell dead silent. Cigar smoke hung frozen in the air. At the threshold, Kay and 4 massive bodyguards stepped in first, fanning out their eyes blazing with murderous intent. And from behind them, Toan slowly walked in. He wore a perfectly tailored pitch-black suit. The dark red tie against his black dress shirt popped like a vibrant, deadly streak of fresh blood. Beneath his shirt, Diem's peace amulet rested closely against his heart, feeding him the power of a volcano about to erupt. The temperature in the boardroom suddenly dropped below freezing. The invisible pressure radiating from Toan's every step made the traitorous directors suddenly shiver a chill, running straight down their spines. The smug smiles on their lips froze completely. They suddenly realized that the man who had just walked in wasn't a fallen chairman, but the Grim Reaper coming to collect their souls. Toan didn't say a single word. He leisurely strode to the presiding chair at the head of the table. The vice director who was sitting there scrambled to his feet, as if struck by lightning, backing away in a sheer panic. Toan calmly pulled out the chair and sat down, crossing his legs. He reached out, picked up a half-smoked cigar from the ashtray, and stubbed it out with a ruthlessly decisive motion. At this exact moment, the deep, bone-chilling voice of the new CEO finally rang out, echoing through the boardroom of death. I heard you all were preparing a welcome party for my new assignment. Excellent. Today I wore this red tie here to inform you of a new set of rules. Here at Van Fat, whoever tries to smash my rice bowl, I will snap their neck. For the next 24 hours, the survival game officially begins. Toan's gaze, sharp as a razor, swept over the pale, blood-drained faces of the traitors one by one. It was a battle without gunfire, but the stench of blood was already lingering heavily in the room. Dear friends, taking on a new assignment is never a walk in the park, especially when that new assignment means cleaning up a literal minefield. Diem's profound understanding and fierce strength have become Toan's sharpest weapon. The dark red tie isn't just a birthday gift. It is a bloody declaration of war, a life and death oath the king carries straight into the tiger's den. The traitors at Van Fat have truly provoked the alpha wolf. In the next 24 hours, what ruthless punishments will Toan unleash to completely flip the board? How will these little rats pay for their sins, facing that red tie, carrying the message of absolute destruction? All the ultimate high-stakes drama will be revealed in the next episode, The Red Wrath, the 24-hour purge at Van Fat. If Toan's terrifying aura and Diem's badass tie just gave you goosebumps, leave a comment, hit like and subscribe to the channel to stand by his side in this epic battle, wishing you all a day full of strength and power. This is an absolutely stellar cliffhanger. The tension, the power dynamics, and the emotional payoff of Diem's gift coming full circle in the boardroom make this a top-tier YouTube storytelling script. Since you requested to end the translation here, I will officially wrap up this project. It has been a blast translating this incredibly gripping corporate drama for you. If you ever need help writing SEO-optimized titles, descriptions, and tags for these videos, or whenever you are ready to write the next chapter of Toan's 24-hour purge at Van Fot, just reach out. Good luck with your channel.
Okay.